Hi there everyone, thank you for dropping into this practice with me. My name is Kelsey and I'm going to guide you through a yoga practice that can be really good for strengthening your bones, your joints, and the muscles surrounding those joints. So I intended this practice to be for women, femmes, menstruating people, or if you don't identify with any of those terms, and you have had a menstrual cycle, or you are going through menopause, this is a practice that I designed for you because one of the things that maybe catches us by surprise whenever we go through menopause is it can affect our bone density and our bone health. So, of course, like I said, if you don't identify with any of those categories or labels that I just listed, totally okay. You can still do this practice if this practice was calling to you. It is for you. But that was why I originally intended to make this practice. And so we're going to do a lot of poses that are really good for bearing weight in our joints and bearing weight in our bones, because that really is how we strengthen our bones, is by loading them with weight. So we're going to start with a little bit of a wrist warm up, and then we'll move through our asana practice. And as always, we'll have a nice shavasana at the end before we come back. So start in any comfortable seat. I'm sitting kneeling. If you don't like to sit this way for any reason, maybe it hurts your knees, you could take a cross-leg seat, Sukhasana. You could also try putting a block between your heels and underneath your seat. And we're going to try to find a nice tall spine. Rolling the shoulders back and down. And then take your hands out in front of you and spread the fingers really wide. And then keep spreading the fingers wide, but flex your fingers back towards your face without any help, not using the hands to pull them back. You might notice that one wrist is a little bit more limber and mobile than the other. For me, that's my left wrist. And we're also starting to connect with our breath here. Start to point those fingers down now. And then we're going to do that again. Flex back through the fingers so the fingers are pointing up. You're reaching out through the palms of your hands. You're spreading the shoulder blades apart. And then tilting at the wrists, pointing the fingers down, stretching through the backs of the wrists. Wonderful. Take the hands into fists and then just start to rotate your wrists in any way that feels good. And then go ahead and reverse that motion. And then let's come around into our tabletop position. You can come over the knees, or you can send your legs to one side to make your way here. I did forget to mention that you might like to have a strap for this practice. If you don't, it's totally okay. You could use an old t-shirt, an old towel, a scarf, a belt, or you could just forego that option. So hands and knees are underneath your hips, hands under your shoulders. Let's move through some cats and cows. Inhale, lift your sits bones, drop your belly, pull your heart through your arms and lift your head. Exhale, round your spine, chin towards your throat, tailbone down. Inhale, cow pose, tailbone lifts, head lifts. Exhale, round your spine, chin to your throat. Couple more here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just like we had in that seated position, pressing the floor away. Inhale, lift your head. Exhale, round your spine. It's our last one. Inhale, back through your neutral table. So, like I just said, pressing the floor away, reaching through your arms, spreading the shoulder blades apart. At the same time, shoulders away from your neck, reaching the crown of your head forward. Tuck all 10 toes under, and we're going to do a little hovering tabletop pose. And so you're going to think about keeping your spine as flat as you can, and you're going to press into the feet and let your knees lift to a couple inches above the mat for a little hover. And we're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1, drop the knees down, find child's pose, widen your knees, big toes touch, hips go back towards your heels, reach your arms forward and lower your head down. If this is another position that's uncomfortable for your knees, you can keep your hips more so over your knees and stack your forearms and rest your head down. We're just taking a break out of the wrists now, because we're going to do another pose here in a couple of moments that is going to put a little bit of pressure into the wrists. Right now, just resting and breathing. Next, inhale, lift your head. Exhale, look forward, shift forward into your tabletop pose again, hands and knees. And we're going to maintain those kind of principles that we just worked with as we come into our downward dog. So press the floor away from you, spread the shoulder blades apart, shoulders away from your neck. Tuck all 10 toes under, lift up through the low abdominals. Inhale, press into your feet, lift your knees up, and then shift your hips up and back into your first downward facing dog. So your shoulders should not be over your wrists. You're pressing the floor away from you, and you're lifting the hip creases up really, really high. You might need to adjust the width of your feet away from your hands, and also I find it easier whenever my feet are not as close together, so hip width apart with the feet. Alternate the bends of the knees, pressing through one heel, lifting the opposite, doing this a few times. Steady breaths. And then let's come through stillness, and we're going to shift this forward into a plank pose. So scoop the tailbone under, lift up through the low abdominals, shift your shoulders over your wrists, keep pressing the floor away from you. Everything in the front of your body hugging up to meet the back body. If having your knees lifted right now feels like way too much, you're going to drop the knees down. Your knees are behind your hips. You're still working with those low abdominal muscles, and we're really pressing the floor away with our arms. At the same time, maybe pulling the heart space forward a bit, lifting the head. Same thing here if your knees are lifted. Let's take 2 more breaths. You can do it. All right, exhale, send the hips up and back into that downward facing dog, and then we're going to walk the feet towards the hands, any amount of steps to get here. Uttanasana at the top of your mat. Let your upper body drape over your thighs. Let your head be heavy. Feel the weight come out of the wrists. Maybe you take opposite hand to opposite elbow, do a little sway side to side. Returning back to stillness, back into center. Release your arms from the base of your spine, rolling up. Press into your feet, one vertebrae at a time. Feel that stretch along your spine. Eventually, shoulders roll back, head lifts, and you're in Tadasana. Make sure there's no dizziness. Let the dust settle. And then I'm going to scoot myself back just so I'm in the center of the mat. You can do the same if you want to. You don't necessarily have to. And we're going to do some little Utkatasana squats. So for Utkatasana, feet are hip width distance apart, toes pointing straight ahead, and hands can start at heart center, and then we can add on throughout if you want a little bit more of a challenge. So hands at heart center, heart is lifting towards the thumbs. Put a bend into your knees and send your hips back. Think about keeping your knees stacked over your ankles as much as you can, Again, that little lift up through the low abdomen is helpful, flattening out your lower back and your tailbone. And then we're going to breathe out here, and then inhale, press into the feet, come back to standing. Don't think about pressing your pelvis forward so that we're not putting any pressure in the lower back, but just think about pressing the floor away from you with your feet and getting your center of gravity and your hips right underneath your shoulders. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, and we'll squat. Hips go back, knees stay over the ankles, so it's not a deep squat. And then inhale, press through the feet to straighten the legs. Hips are right under your shoulders. We're going to do 4 more. Exhale, bend the knees, hips back. Inhale, press into the feet, stand up. The option to add on is to have the arms overhead. Sending the hips back, keeping the arms alongside your ears if that's okay with your back. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, hinging at the hips, sitting back. Inhale, standing up, last one, and we're going to hold. Send the hips back, squeeze inner thighs towards each other, lift up through the low belly. If having the arms overhead now is a little bit too much, you can bring the arms straight out in front of you or back to heart center. Strong legs. Really nice. Inhale, press into your feet. Come back up to standing. From here, turn to face towards the side of your mat that's facing the video, and then just widen your feet. Heels in, toes out. Toes in, heels out. Excuse me about that. And we're going to keep everything in the front body facing this longer edge of your mat, and you're going to take your left toes to point towards the shorter edge of the mat. You're spinning on that left heel, and your inside edge of your foot should be parallel to the long edge of the mat. Put a deep bend into that left knee, but notice as you do that, if the upper body goes with it, again, keep this stack of your spine and the shoulders over the hips. Just lunge into the left knee. From here, hands can stay at your waist, or for more, we take the hands out into this T shape. Look over your left fingertips. Soften through your gaze, not scrunching through the eyebrows, not tightening up your jaw. Maybe even a little smile at the lips. Another breath cycle here. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Added challenge is to keep the arms lifted. We're going to turn the left toes in, back to where we started. We're going to the right this time. Turn the right toes towards the short edge of the mat. Keep shoulders over the hips. Lunge into your right knee. Look over your right fingertips, warrior 2. Great work. Next breath in, straighten that right leg. Now hands come to the waistline if they're not there already. Parallel your feet. Let's take Prasarita Padottanasana. We're going to release the spine with this pose. So if you need to walk your feet in a little bit, you can. Inhale, lift up through your heart space. Exhale, hips go back, heart goes forward, hinging at the hip creases. When you meet that halfway point, hands come underneath your shoulders. And then let your head get heavy at the bottom. Gravity is doing a lot of the work here. If your hamstrings are really tight, put a bend into your knees. And you can still be working with gravity here. Just pulling the shoulders away from the neck and feeling the effect of gravity pulling your head down. A few more breaths like this. Inhale, lift halfway, hands come under the shoulders, flat back, and then ground through your feet, hands to your waistline, lift up with a flat back. Really strong legs. Great work. Heel toe your feet in. Until you're in Tadasana, you can be facing the long edge of your mat, or you can turn to face the front of your mat. We're going to come into tree pose, really, really good for that standing leg, working on our balance. So we're going to start with hands at the heart center, and you'll start to just shift the weight that's balancing through both feet in Tadasana. Just shift it over to that left leg and lift the right heel. So what we don't want is this. We want to keep that center of gravity strong through the left leg. Just lift the right heel and then turn the right heel out, the right toes out. And the right knee is going to follow. And you can stay here just resting that foot to the inside of your left leg. You're still going to be using your outer glute muscle to point that knee out as much as you can. But if you can, you might see how it feels to set the foot to the inside of your left leg or to bring that foot up towards the inner thigh. None of these are better than the other. It's really about where you feel like you can work at your edge. So if it feels like you're falling all over the place and you're getting frustrated, come back to a point where you can find a little bit of stability. Maybe it's still challenging, but it's not overwhelming, and breathe here. We're going to take about 3 more breaths here. So if you've been here for a little while, you're almost there. On an exhale, with as much control as you can, set the right foot down. If you need to shake out that standing leg, you can. Wiggle it out, shaking out the thigh. Let's go to the other side now, hands at heart center. Begin in Tadasana. You're already balancing, but your feet are on the mat. And then we're just taking this sense of balance and stability into the right leg as we lift the left heel, turning the left toes out, heel rest to the inside of your right ankle. And then maybe you stay here, breathing, really pressing down through that right leg, or maybe you slide the foot up the leg any amount, going to your edge today. Nice and strong through that standing leg. Last several breaths here. All right, on an exhale, with as much control as you can, set that left leg down, shaking it out, shaking out the legs. Make your way back to the top of your mat, and we'll start to come down to the ground again for just a little bit more strength, and then we're going to slow it down. From your Tadasana at the top of your mat, inhale, reach your arms up, upward salute. Exhale, forward bend. Hinging at the hips, allow for a bend of the knees again. Inhale. Think about lifting halfway, flattening out your back. Exhale, plant your hands, step 1 foot back at a time, arrive in your plank pose. Just like that first plank pose that we did, you can lower your knees down, just still thinking about scooping your tailbone back, lifting up through your low belly, pulling your heart forward so we're really strong through the shoulders. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you drop the elbows down underneath your shoulders. This is going to take pressure out of the wrists, of course. So if your wrists are really talking to you, this might be a great place for you to go. And you can do this with the knees down or the knees lifted. I'm taking like a prayer position with my hands because that feels easier for me. Just make sure the elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Last few breaths here. You're really going to feel a shake. I know I do. Great work. Exhale, drop the hips down to the mat. Elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Palms face down, forearms parallel. You pull up through the crown of your head. Pull your heart forward. Relax your jaw. Take 1 more breath cycle. And from here, we're just going to roll over onto our backs. And so you might need to shift yourself over to one side so that you can roll over. If you do have a strap or a scarf or whatever you could use to just extend the length of your arms a little bit, let's grab that. Make any other little adjustments that you need to as you come down onto your back. Now we're going to really start to slow things down. So if you're not using the strap, You can do what we're about to do by simply pulling your right knee in towards you and then extending your right leg to the sky just to the degree that having the leg straight feels good. And then you can have your hands behind the thigh or maybe your shin, your ankle, or if you can reach and the leg is relatively straight, you could grab onto your big toe. If you're using a strap like I am, same principle, right knee comes into the chest. We're just going to take the strap around the ball joints of the right foot and then extend the right leg towards the sky. Holding on to the strap pretty close up towards the foot, but then allowing the shoulder blades to rest down. And you can give yourself a little gentle tug on the right leg, but we're not yanking. We're not really working a lot in the upper body right now. We're doing this to start to stretch out and cool down. Taking a few more breaths. If this is feeling relatively simple for you and you want to and it's available, you could extend that left leg long. You're going to be reaching out through that left heel if you take that option. So the left leg is active. And then maybe you stay right here, or maybe you start to gather that strap in your right hand, I like to take my left hand on top of my left hip. Again, that left leg is active. And then you could take the right leg out towards the right, just going to the degree that you can without rolling over onto your right side. You're going to be using those inner thigh muscles a good bit. One more breath cycle. Exhale. Use the help of your arm to bring that leg back up through center and then switch with your hand. So now your left hand is holding on to the strap. Your right arm can go out beside you. This isn't a twist. You're going to keep the right side lower back as grounded as you can. You're just going to let your right leg kind of drift over towards the left. Drawing the low belly down a little bit, feeling that really big stretch on the outer right thigh. One more breath cycle. Inhale, coming all the way back up. And let's take the strap off of the foot, set the right foot down. We're going to do all of that on the other side. So again, if you're not using your strap, then you're going to be holding on to your left leg wherever's accessible. Lots of options. If you are using the strap, take the strap around the ball joint of the left foot. Starting to relax the arms and let gravity do most of the work here. And just like we did on that first side, if you want to, and it's in your practice, you might extend that right leg long, really active through the right leg, flex back through the toes, reach out through the heel. And then let's take that side variation. This is recline big toe pose B. Right hand resting on top of your right hip, and then let the left leg drop out to the side, just going to where it stops naturally. Going to where you're not rolling over, you still have some control here. Nice. Inhale, come up with that leg. And then shift the strap to your right hand. Left arm goes out beside you. Not a twist, keeping the lower back on the left side nice and grounded. Just let the leg drift over to the right a little bit. Big stretch for your left side. Inhale back through center and exhale. Let's take the strap off of the foot, setting the left foot down. Set that strap off to the side if you were using it. Let's prepare for a bridge pose. Feet are underneath your kneecaps. Toes are pointing straight ahead. Arms come down beside you, palms down. And then inhale, press it to your feet. Lift your hips up any amount. Exhale, stay here. It's our last little bit of strength. On your inhales, really press through your feet and squeeze your inner thighs in. On your exhales, press into your arms a little bit. Breathe in again. Think about lifting your sternum towards your chin. Maybe wiggle the shoulders underneath you. Exhale, pressing through your feet a little bit more. Last breath cycle here. Another inhale. Exhale slowly with control, one vertebrae at a time. Setting the hips down. Whenever you get here, pause in neutral, acknowledge how you feel, and then bring the knees in, taking a big hug, rocking side to side. Eventually, you can let this rocking motion land you into a twist, arms going out beside you, both legs drop to one side, whichever side. Does not matter which one. Another inhale. Exhale, come back through center. Take a breath in between. Exhale, both legs drop over to the right. Several breaths here. Next breath in, back through center with the legs. Give yourself one more big hug. Maybe lift your nose towards your knees. Just give yourself a big squeeze, big breath in. Exhale, setting everything down with control, with grace. Letting your feet return to your mat. Extending your legs long, preparing for your Shavasana, your final resting pose. You will hear my voice when it's time to come back into this space. Until then, enjoy your rest. Remaining just as you are, start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice the way that your breath is moving in your body, and allow for the movement of your breath to inspire you to create your own movement, wiggling fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, maybe nodding your head side to side. Maybe eventually taking a big full body stretch, breathing in to stretch long from fingers to toes, and exhale, letting it all go. When you're ready, pull your legs in, roll over to one side, any side, and slowly press your way up, coming back up and around into a comfortable seat. And just pausing when you get here, letting your eyes be soft or closed, and acknowledging the impact of your practice on you today. And then connect to a sense of gratitude for this practice, for the space and the time that you had to practice in today, and for yourself for choosing to show up and to do something good for you. And with this gratitude in our hearts, palms together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra, closing by taking a deep breath in. Exhale to chant Om. Om. Thank you all so much for joining me for this practice. I hope that this practice has served you well. Please let me know how it went for you in the comments down below. I have a lot of other classes on my channel that are dedicated to supporting the health of menstruating people or people who are menopausal, pre-menopause, going through menopause, post-menopause, and I'm continuing to build that library up. So please let me know if there's anything that you feel like would be very supportive for you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do. I release new classes every single Sunday, and if you are really looking to strengthen the bones and to strengthen your joints, any yoga practice that you do is going to help you with that. So please subscribe and meet me on the mat for more practices like this soon. I hope that we do practice together again very soon. Thank you. Namaste.